Ladies and gentlemen, you are now listening to the #1 sports podcast, broadcasting Sundays at 9 a.m.-ish in Sacramento, California. Sports Talk 916. Now here are your hosts, Greg Bowl and Coach Greg Barosa.
Well, good morning. It's Sunday. It's just about 9 a.m.-ish, and it's a special day today. We're not saying the two words put together, but my name is Coach Greg. Right there is Greg Bowl, Mr. Chief, and he is enjoying a super Sunday. And welcome. I know. Welcome. It's episode 271 of this little shindig we call Sports Talk 916. And what's happening?
Not much. It is a super day, and it is Sunday, and my last name is Bowl, so you put it together.
And
What's
we're
up,
back
man?
on.
What?
And it was good. I said we were back on the air. We're all legit now, and had a little incident the other day where we kind of sort of got.
Yeah. So let's rehash that a little bit. So CBS got pissed at us for airing the Adrian Bronner post-fight interview with Jim Gray. And at first I was like, oh, that fucking sucks. But then I was like, wait a minute. Somehow CBS caught wind of our podcast. So I took it as a
compliment. Absolutely.
Absolutely. So what's up, Albert? What's up, James?
So good week. Same old. Lots of work getting a couple of deals done. We're getting closer to yours. And so same old. How about you?
Just been getting ready for the week. Feels good to be getting ready to be back on the air here. Busy day today, obviously, and it should be fun. So we have a lot. I was thinking it was going to be like a quick show, right? We're going to just recap the game. We're going to preview leading up to it.
Right.
We got a lot going on, so. We're going to jump right into it. First, we're going to start off with local stuff here. And Mark wants us to predict the final score. So, Mark, because it would be bad juju for us just to throw our predictions out now, I'm going to go ahead and, as a caveat to our picks, which happen at the end of the show, Mark wants scores. So we're going to make our picks and our score predictions at the end of the show. So you have to stay tuned.
That's called a tease.
What's that?
Said that's called a tease.
Right. So big stuff happened here in Sacramento regarding football in the kicking variety. And that was, last year, Sacramento Republic FC was, because Mark, we can't just give you the goodies. You got to, have a little foreplay. We had Sacramento vying for a spot in Major League Soccer, and unfortunately they came up short. One of the main reasons was we needed a money backer. The MLS wasn't confident in Kevin Nagel's money. Now, everyone around Sacramento knows that Kevin Nagel's got the money, but MLS wanted
name. He doesn't have the name.
He doesn't have the name with it. So Kevin Nagel for the past year has been saying we're going to go out and we're going to get a whale, we're going to get a money backer, and we're gonna revamp our bid to MLS. And this week, Mayor Steinberg at the State of the Downtown address announced that, in my opinion, probably the biggest name he could have announced as far as a money backer goes, and that is Pittsburgh Penguins owner Ron Burkle. And if there's ever been a bomb dropped on anything, it's that, right? Burkle is probably the biggest name you can get in Sacramento. He's got money coming out of every orifice you can imagine. He's the owner of the Pittsburgh Penguins, as we mentioned. And if Major League Soccer grants Sacramento an expansion team, he will become the principal owner of the Sacramento Republic FC. and has already vied to purchase the entire remaining land around the proposed site and around the Kaiser buildings downtown in the rail yards to develop basically a entertainment district, like an LA Live that surrounds Staples Center. If Major League Soccer for some reason doesn't grant Sacramento an expansion team, Ron Burkle goes away. So it's a win-win situation for Sacramento. If we get a team, we have one of the biggest owners in sports, money-wise, and if it doesn't, then we go back to the drawing board. But what was your thoughts on that when it was announced that Burkle was coming on board with Sac Republic?
I was amazed. I was blown away. I didn't think that was going to happen. I never put his name in the mix, but obviously he has a fondness for Sacramento. He was the first one to really jump on board to help try to save the Kings back in the day. Obviously he has money. It's a
little bit.
Yeah. He has a couple bucks floating around. And I think this is a good thing. I mean, I think Sacramento would be a great MLS town. Obviously, soccer is very popular in this area. I think part of the drop-off that the Republic has seen in attendance has to do with the MLS and them not stepping up and granting us a franchise. And I think that should they get a franchise, you're going to see people back at Republic games. I mean, that place is going to be packed. Not only that, but what it's going to do for that crappy part of town, you're going to see it's a win-win in every stretch of the imagination.
Oh, without a doubt.
Yeah.
But yeah, as I mentioned, if he gets, if we get it, Burkle's in. If he doesn't, Burkle's out. So there's no risk there. Mayor Steinberg is supposed to be meeting with Don Garber, the commissioner of Major League Soccer, this month, to discuss the future. So it is pretty cool what's happening in Sacramento now. And I mean, that's really pretty much the local stuff. I mean, we're going to get into King Talk here in a minute, but I just wanted to hash that out here. Let's do this real quick, and we're going to switch over to NBA and Kings Talk. Hey guys, I'm excited to announce a new partnership with Antonio Pacheco from Folsom Lake Ford. Tony has been my go-to sales guy for a number of years, and he's come on board to bring the awesome sales buying experience to each and every one of you. All of his information is on our website at sportstalk916.com, but if you're in a hurry and you're looking for a new car, give him a call today. Antonio Pacheco, area code 530-218-7069. He will answer all of your questions in regards to the car buying experience, and he is the main guy that I trust in the Sacramento area for all of your car buying needs. Again, Antonio Pacheco, Folsom Lake Ford, 530-218-7069. Yep. So, NBA. Busy week in the NBA.
Say at least.
Anthony Davis announced that via his agent that he wants out of New Orleans. He doesn't want to be a Pelican anymore. That subsequently got him a $50,000 fine for publicly announcing that he no longer wants to be a member of the team he's on, which in retrospect to Anthony Davis, I think is like $12. So he's not too worried about it. There's been a lot of talk surrounding Anthony Davis and the Lakers. What kind of offers can be made? The initial offer that I saw was Lonzo Ball, Kyle Kuzma, Brandon Ingram, that the Russian kid that they have, the small forward, and a first-round pick for Anthony Davis. It was turned down. There was reports that the Lakers had offered 5 different packages for the Pelicans to choose from. All of those turned down. Report yesterday came back that the deal was actually the Russian cat.
Is that Wagner? Is that Wagner?
Something like that.
He's German, yeah.
Okay. Those two, or him, Rajon Rondo, Michael Beasley, and either one of Kuzma, Ingram, or Ball, plus I believe 2 first-round picks. And the Pelicans came back and said that's a low ball offer.
Yeah. I agree.
How that's a lowball offer blows my mind. The first one, if I were the Pelicans and I was Dell Demps, the first offer of Kuzma, the kid you mentioned, Ball, Ingram, and I guess that would be those 5, and the pick that they were including just for Anthony Davis.
Now
Anthony Davis
I think
would have been at the airport in a heartbeat.
Oh, yeah, and that's not a bad offer. It's the second offer I don't think was as good. I mean,
Zubik is the other guy. That's right. Thanks, James.
Okay. It wasn't. I thought Wagner was included in one of those packages.
No, it was Zubik.
Okay.
And then Michael Beasley was included. I think Michael Kidd Gilchrist was it's not Michael Kidd. It's I believe it's Caldwell Pope is there. He was included in one. It's one of those things where it's like, okay, what are you waiting for? I mean, why are you not pulling the trigger on that? I mean, Anthony Davis already says that he doesn't want to play for Boston, and Boston is the only other team in the league that makes sense making a deal with, but you can't make a deal with Boston until July because all of their picks don't become available for trade until after the season. So why would you not make that deal? And
holding out for the best possible thing they can get, at least what they think is the best possible thing they can get.
Okay, if you're Dell Demps, are you going to call Houston and go, hey, remember when you were willing to offer 5 first-round picks in the future plus players for Jimmy Butler? Are you still willing to do that? Because, we have Anthony Davis, and Anthony Davis is a little bit better than Jimmy Butler is.
Right.
And he could run with Paul, and he can run with Harden, and he can do this and that, whatever. Why have they not been blowing up Houston's phone?
Who knows? Maybe they have, and we just haven't heard it. That's kind of what I'm thinking is why Dell Demps is holding off, is because he wants to try to see how much he can get for Davis. And maybe, in this world, if you take the first offer, then you're always maybe leaving something on the table. And that's the only thing I can think. He doesn't have to do it right now. He's got all the cards in his pocket. He doesn't have to do it now. He's got him signed through the end of not this season, but next season. So it's not like he can really do anything. If he doesn't want to play, that's fine. They put him on the suspended list, and he doesn't get paid.
Right.
So why jump at the first thing that's there? Why not take your time? New Orleans isn't going anywhere. Bringing in 5 or 6 new players from the Lakers isn't going to change their positioning in anything. It's not going to bring more people to the arena because nobody goes anyway. He has no reason to jump on it right now. He's got every reason in the world to sit back and wait to see what Boston can put together. And I think part of the reason Boston can't make an offer is something to do with max contracts. There can only be a certain number of max contracts that they have, and they have to do something with Kyrie's contract.
Right, or they have to wait until after the season, and then they can. It's pretty much free form.
Yeah.
The other one. Go ahead.
No. Go ahead.
No, I was going to change topic. I was going to change teams. So if you have more on
no.
So the other thing that's crazy about the NBA and these trade rumors is Anthony Davis announces he wants out. It's been 2 weeks already? A week and a half, maybe? Maybe coming up in a week since maybe 14 days. I don't know. Whatever.
It was a week. It was like
6 months ago. He said it. It is whatever it is. Oh, and by the way, his dad is venturing down the LeVar Ball route, which I think is ridiculous. I don't necessarily disagree with what he said about Boston, saying that they basically did Isaiah Thomas dirty, and that's why he doesn't want his son playing there. But that's all.
Regardless. Yeah, but I had a thought on that though. I mean, his dad came out and said that they treated him poorly. They didn't show any loyalty to Isaiah Thomas. Isn't that what he's doing to New Orleans? He's not showing any loyalty to New Orleans. He's saying, I want out of there.
Yeah, it's definitely a pot calling the kettle black situation there. But, it's one of those things where I just don't understand how he can. I mean, Boston, I guess it's a different situation because, yeah, Boston did Isaiah dirty in the way that they handled him. But Isaiah did something that Anthony Davis didn't do or isn't doing, and that's being loyal to the team that he was on. Isaiah Thomas was playing with a jacked up hip, required surgery. 2 days before the playoffs started, Isaiah Thomas's sister was killed in a car crash, and he still went out there and played. He easily could have been out of that series and not given anything. But no, he stayed, he played. He further injured his hip by playing, and Boston just said, see you later, and shipped him off. So Anthony Davis should take a page out of Isaiah Thomas's book and stay loyal to your soil until they do you wrong. It shouldn't be something that you compare. You can't compare the way that one team is treated when you're doing the poor treating. You're just flipping roles. So I think that's pretty ridiculous.
Yeah. And James asked about AD's dad. Who cares? I mean, it's not like Anthony Davis has a no trade clause and can veto a trade. Who cares? Send him where you want to send him, where you're going to get the best deal, and let them deal with that. His dad speaking up has no play in the situation at all. Yeah, and I don't know, maybe he's trying to tap into the LeVar Ball money. LeVar got a bunch of crap coming out of it by opening his mouth, and maybe he's doing the same thing. Who knows? The other thing that's crazy, though, is, like I said, Anthony Davis, he announces it, no traction at all. Kristaps Porzingis announces he wants out of New York. I'm pretty sure it was like 12 minutes, and he was a Dallas Maverick. It was probably the fastest facilitated trade I've ever seen, unless it was planned that way to, like, they already had a deal in place to show that maybe New York is in tune with its players, right? They're willing to support their guys. If you want out, we're going to facilitate it, because the idea right now is that Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant are going to go play for the New York Knicks because they got rid of Porzingis' contract. That ain't going to happen. I think there's a pretty good possibility that very well could happen. But the question is why? Why would you want to play for Dolan in New York? I mean, that just doesn't make any sense at all. But I mean, could that have been a way of showing the ownership is taking a stand in good faith with its team to show, like, we're willing to be flexible? I mean, I don't understand how they got a deal that quick unless it was Porzingis who maybe a week or two ago came to management and said, hey, I want out, and they kept it quiet, which, would be rare in the NBA. And then maybe it sat too long, and he's like, well, crap, now Anthony Davis wants out. I need to make this public because I need this to get moving, because clearly the Knicks aren't doing anything. When in retrospect, the Knicks already had a deal in place, and then he just wasn't patient enough. I mean, that's probably more likely. Regardless, the word that I heard, and I read this in a couple of different stories, is that Porzingis had made an appointment to talk to them about his future. And he walked in and said, hey, you know what? I'm out. I don't want to be here anymore. And they pretty much went, okay, fine. And they called up Dallas. And I don't know this, but I can imagine there's guys. I mean, those GMs are always calling each other going, hey, what would you take for this guy? What would you take for that guy? It happens all the time. I mean, there's always deals on the table. So maybe what had happened is Dallas had already called about that deal, and he went in there and said, hey, I want out. And all of a sudden they're like, okay, yeah, get Mark Cuban on the phone and let's do it. So that's kind of what I think happened. Yeah, and like I said, I think it was probably just a matter of timing. Like, okay, AD was KP was upset that they hadn't moved him yet, and he made it public. And then all of a sudden, they're like, oh yeah, by the way, we have a deal. But regardless, Dennis Smith Jr., DeAndre Jordan, Wes Matthews, and a pick go to New York for Kristaps Porzingis, Tim Hardaway Jr., and one other player. James makes a really good point. If the Knicks get the first overall pick, you could see Dennis Smith
Zion from Duke, Knox, who they took this year, and possibly a Kevin Durant or a Kyrie Irving, the Knicks are right back in the fold if that happens. Even without the first overall pick, if they can pull KD and Kyrie because they can offer 2 max deals with Dennis Smith Jr. and Knox,
they're gonna have a top 3 or 4 pick. So any one of those, I mean, between the 3 guys at Duke and the kid at what is it? There's some off the wall school, little mid-major school that I saw some highlights of. It's just fucking awesome. Any one of those 4 people that they could get, and then you throw in KD and everybody else. Whew.
I'm still sure KD's coming here. Don't ruin it for me.
But here's the thing. If there's a franchise that has been, over the years, a bigger dumpster fire than the Sacramento Kings, it's your New York Knicks.
Oh, without a doubt.
So I don't have any confidence that they won't screw this up somehow.
Oh yeah, without a doubt, they will find a way to ruin that for sure.
Yeah.
And yeah, it'll be interesting. Atlanta's the big winner with Dallas picked this year. I mean, yeah, Dallas is going to get better, which is going to improve. Atlanta's going to have 2 decent picks. If that's right, he's going with that. Kings talk. Let's talk Kings. Playing well, playing good.
They
basketball.
are playing great.
Playing. It's like the team we saw earlier in the year. They're running again. They're playing good. I don't want to say they underachieved on that last 6-game road trip because it was a tough trip. Record-wise, they definitely underachieved. Record-wise, 2-4 on that trip was absolutely terrible. But when you're gone for 16 days away from home and you're a young team that's not used to traveling that long, like it's expected a little bit. But they played well. And
look at 2 of their big pieces. I can't imagine Giles and Bagley have ever been on a 6-game, 16-day road trip ever. So playing on the road's not easy. I mean, your whole schedule's turned upside down. Your meals are turned upside down. Just life in general sucks. And so, I mean, even though they're in 5-star hotels and being waited on hand and foot, it still messes with you. So, I think, all in all, I think it was, again, it's the process. It's something they had to go through. They're going to have to learn how to win, and they're getting better at it. But going through that road trip, I can imagine. I bet you if they had that same road trip, either in a month from now or sometime in the first part of next season, they go 4-2, or they could even go 5-1. But right now, anything that they do, as long as you see some growth, is going to be good. And coming home and beating a team like Philadelphia, who was on a hot streak. It wasn't like Philly was on a back-to-back. They had a night off. It could have been kind of a trap game after the Warrior game. But still, I mean, it's Philadelphia. And I think after the last couple of games, I think I've changed who I think might be coming out in the East. I really like Philadelphia.
Oh, I think Philly arguably is a top 3 team in the East, if not top 2. Yeah, James, Willie was 19-9 last night, but he did a great job slowing down Embiid, who was 27-19. Really good job slowing him down.
He sucks, and we need to trade him.
Well, Willie apparently is on the trading block. The Kings are willing to take calls on Willie Cauley-Stein, and they're open to discussions on him, which, I don't necessarily know that you trade him now because he's part of the chemistry, part of the group that's running around.
Right.
But that should be a pretty good indication that Willie Cauley-Stein may not be in the future plans, because he'll be a restricted free agent. His qualifying offer is like $6.7 million. There's no way Willie's taking $6.7 million. He's going to clearly feel that he's worth at least 3 times that, if not more. And I don't think the Sacramento Kings are willing to do that, but we can get to that here in a little bit as well.
Right.
Kings beat the Hawks on the first game of the homestand, 135-118 or 116. Great game. They started out super slow. The second unit came in and just ran the table, and then the starters came back in and completely turned the game around. Then, that game was kind of expected, though, right? The Kings went into Atlanta and did the exact same thing to the Hawks. The Hawks are not a good basketball team. They're very streaky. The Kings, it's a rare situation where the Sacramento Kings won a game that they were supposed to win in commanding fashion.
And it wasn't going into that game, it wasn't a foregone conclusion. There were some doubts that it was the first game off of a 6-game road trip.
Right.
And if you listen to a lot of NBA players and people that travel like that, they always say that the first game back is like an extension of the road trip. You still don't really have your feet on the ground. You're not back into your regular routine. You're still trying to catch up. And so I was worried. I mean, I wasn't sure that it was going to happen. I mean, I thought they were right for getting beat, which again goes to show you how much this team is growing up, because this time last year they lose to Atlanta by 10.
Oh, without a doubt. But, clearly coach isn't doing the right thing to playing right. No. So they won against the Hawks. That was 5 games in a row at home.
Right.
Philly comes in, coming off the high of Atlanta. You got to think, okay, you know what? Philly just beat the Warriors in Oracle. They're going to come in. They're going to be ready to play. The Kings beat the Sixers last night in a great game. It was an up and down game. There were moments there, in the fourth where the Kings were up like 11, and then all of a sudden they're down. They're only up by 3. Then they're down by 1. I think Jimmy Butler gets the award for able to make the most ridiculous 3-pointers in coverage in the league. It's crazy. Every time we play Philly, or when we were playing Minnesota as well, Jimmy Butler has this weird knack of getting the ball and shooting over 2 or 3 defenders from way outside the arc and just draining it. The second he gets the ball, you're like, well, it's going to be a 1-point game. There's no way he misses those. And a perfect example of that is the very next drive down the court, or maybe it was 2 drives down the court. Shumpert and Butler are one-on-one in the corner. Shumpert, who obviously doesn't want to foul him because the refs were calling 3-point shot fouls left and right last night, which you never see one, let alone 3 or 4 that we saw yesterday.
And didn't Butler have like 3 of them?
Yeah, I think Butler had 2 or 3 of them. And so Shump sticks his hands up, and right before the shot goes up, he just basically just gets close to him, and Butler misses it. I'm like, you know what? If they had 2 more guys on him, Butler probably would have drained that damn 3. So, lesson learned is you just play Butler one-on-one.
Right.
But, the game got close, and then at the end they pulled away. Now they're winners of 6 in a row at home. And I hate to say it, though, there's something that a lot of people are starting to notice, and there was a change that started on this homestand, and it's going to carry on through this entire 6-game homestand. The Sacramento Kings are 2-0 with Jerry Reynolds doing color. So, and Doug Christie even mentioned that on Grant's show, or on their show on Friday. He's like, I better be careful because, they're 1-0 with Jerry, and then they mentioned on Friday like they might be 2-0 with Jerry on Saturday, from Michoacan, Mexico. What's up, Jacinto? Thanks for joining in, man. Yeah, go Kings for sure. Kings are 2-0 with Jerry Reynolds on the call. He'll be on every game this homestand. He has 10 games total this year, so this is game 2 of 10. But man, Jerry Reynolds, just because you haven't been calling the games doesn't mean you need to hit a full season quota of your nicknames. He said Fox in the box at least 25 times last night. And it's like, dude, if you have a quota at the beginning of the year and you only do 10 games, you need to divide that by 82 and figure out how many times you're going to say that, or 41, because you don't need to say it every single time you touch the ball. It was getting a little rough. But that's Jerry. That's why we all love Jerry so much. Without a doubt. But what I'm afraid of with that is Doug is going to hear Jerry saying it over and over and over again, and then Doug's going to start doing it because, Jerry did it. So that's a little bit scary. But Kings are 27-25. last season the Kings won 27 games. His nicknames are pretty funny. I will give him that. I have one of the best videos I ever have of one of my kids at a Kings game. I believe my little one was probably 4, and we're at the game, and all of a sudden she yells out, "Hippity hop to the barbershop." And I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. So Jerry Reynolds will always have a place in our heart for Kings fans for sure. But Kings are 27-25. Last year they won 27 games total. It's February 3rd. Well, I guess February 2nd, they hit 27 games. There's still 30 games to go this season.
Yep.
Is it safe to call this team overachievers, or is this something that we should expect going forward?
I think they're overachievers based on where everybody thought they were going to be at this time of the year. I think it's the natural progression, the next step. I think it's just a year ahead of where a lot of us thought it was going to be.
Nick Hicks just hit the nail on the head. Jerry has always been a great basketball mind, but super corny with his nicknames. Bibbalicious was the worst, all-time worst. Bibbalicious was pretty damn terrible.
Now, is that your fondness for Mike Bibby?
No, that has nothing to do with my fondness of Mike Bibby. Just Bibbalicious was a joke.
I like Bibbalicious.
You know what? Talk about your overachieving thing. I'm going to see if I can find a list of Jerry Reynolds nicknames.
Okay. So, I think this team they are overachieving. They are overachieving if you call being a step ahead of where we all thought they were going to be. I think with the talent on this team, they're playing up to it. I mean, their experience level is keeping them right around 500. And I've said it all year. They're going to be right around 500, 2 games up, 2 games down. They're going to be hover right around that all season, which is fantastic. And, to hear all these idiots that are calling for Jaeger's head or for Vladdy's head or just to make a fucking trade. I mean, the worst one I saw, some idiot actually posted the other day that we should pick up Carmelo because he's not a ball hog and he would help the flow of the game.
What?
Yeah. He got destroyed. I should try to find it. But, I think the problem with the fans are they get a little bit of success and they think, well, hell, if we're this good, we should be that much better. And it's a process. And, if this time next year we're at 500, then there's a problem without any injuries, as long as you stay healthy. Next year, they need to be pushing for 50 wins. I saw somebody last night said that, their prediction for the end of the year was 50-32. Like they're going to go 23-7 over the next 30 games. You got to be realistic, and you're not going to go from 27 wins one season to 50 or 60 wins the next year. It just doesn't happen. You need to take your time. You need to take logical steps forward. And there's things that they have to check. There's a list. They have to check things off as they go along. And they're starting to check those things off on the list. And once they do that, then you can start. I know, Chris, Mello, stupid. Once they get that list finished and they've experienced all that stuff and they've learned it, then you can say, okay, it's time to make that next step forward. And I think that's what's going to happen next year. We've seen it with Philadelphia. We've seen it with other teams. You just got to keep the core of this team together and keep playing the same way that they've played. And that means you're going to have to adjust your game because other teams are going to start finally scouting you and trying to stop you. This team has a long way to go. But I think it's all the building blocks are there. Now we just got to put them together.
Yeah, without a doubt. And 50 wins next year, who they bringing in? 50 wins next year, I think could happen. It just depends on what they do. It's just what they do with the money they're going to have. with rookie holds and cap holds, it's looking like the Kings may have right around $40 million in cap space, depending on what happens with restricted free agents. You know, it's going to be interesting to see. I mean, it's, you know, who do they bring in? You bring in a Kevin Durant, I think you can pull in 55 wins. I mean, obviously, you know, that's not going to happen, but
yeah, but don't you think just with
Caitlin, if we can somehow, okay, I'm going to put this on record right now. If there's any small forward free agent that's available that I want Vlade Divac to back the Brinks truck up to next season, it's Chris Middleton out of Milwaukee. If Chris Middleton can come here and be that small forward on this team alongside Bogdan and Buddy and De'Aaron and Bagley and Giles, I think the starting lineup of Bagley, Giles, Middleton, Heald, and Fox is a top 5, is probably a top 7, top 8 starting lineup in all of the NBA next season.
Yeah, but let me ask you a question. If you have the choice of staying with Milwaukee and playing with the Greek Freak or coming to Sacramento, what are you going to do? I'm going to stay in Milwaukee. Are you kidding? I have the biggest star to be in the NBA.
No, I agree with
top
that,
3 or 4. I'm not leaving.
If I didn't say he's going to come here. I said if there's a player in this league that Vlade backs the Brinks truck up to try to get him here,
yeah,
that's the player that I want is Chris Middleton out of Milwaukee.
Yeah.
I think that would just be amazing. God damn it. I hate my phone sometimes. We're talking Kongs according to our Facebook. Whatever. I invited Cyrus and Sammy to the show if they to come on the show, but to talk in the chat box if they're available. And we'll see if that comes about. But yeah, we'll Tobias Harris would be another good fit. I don't think he's leaving. I believe is he in Detroit right now? There are clubs in Soul Food in Milwaukee. He's saying, but the Bucks have to agree to his price. Giannis is coming up on that super max. Yeah, that's the one thing is Chris Middleton may be looking at, you know, is Milwaukee going to give that super max to Giannis or is Giannis going to leave? Because there's a lot of talks that LeBron may try to recruit Giannis if they can't land Clay or KD the following season to LA. And I'm sorry, but I don't care how good the Kings get. If Giannis and LeBron team up in LA, I think I'm done with the NBA. Like I just don't know that's even remotely fair. But next question about the Kings: is it time to start Marvin Bagley, or is he still primed to come off the bench and give a boost to that second unit?
I don't know. I see the benefit in both. But I think it's time to start him.
I'm sorry.
What's that?
Tobias Harris. I was thinking he was in the deal, I believe, that sent Blake over to
Detroit.
That's where I was getting confused. But yeah, Tobias Harris. I mean, if you can get Tobias Harris out of the Clippers, I mean, that would be another great small forward add to this team. But yeah, starting Bagley, what do you think?
I think it's time. I mean, I think it's he's playing well off the bench. The bench is playing strong. I mean, that's been a strength for the last 10 games is the bench. But I think you have the second pick. It's not like he's overmatched. It's not like he's still learning how to play the game. He's made some big strides this year. I think you start him. I don't think it helps. And then what's that? Put Shumpert on the bench and have him coming off the bench.
That's if Shumpert's around. I mean, I have a feeling that Shumpert is going to be one of those guys right at the deadline that starts getting calls from a playoff team.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, if you get rid of Shumpert, if Shumpert goes away, then I don't think there's any question you start Giles. Or you start Bagley. You start Bagley.
And Giles, I mean, you mentioned him. You know, I think in a year or two, the Giles-Bagley combo is going to be one that the NBA has never seen before.
Oh, yeah.
If Bagley can extend that range from 15, 17 feet that he's at now out to the three-point line, which he can shoot, it's just his three-point shot has eluded him completely. And you have Giles who can see the floor almost as good as any point guard in the league, and his passing ability if Giles can match his upper body strength to his lower body strength that he got from rehabbing those knees last season,
yeah,
Harry Giles is going to be Chris Webber 2.0, but I think better. And in the area that I think he's going to be better is seeing the floor, and which is unheard of because Weber saw the floor better than almost anybody.
Right.
But Giles has this ability right now to see the floor as a rookie. And, Weber didn't have that court vision when he first came out of into the league. Weber developed that over time. Giles already has it. So, Giles has the intangibles probably in the next 4 or 5 years maybe to surpass Weber. It's not going to be anything soon. But if he can extend that jumper as well and get consistent like Weber was at 12 to 15 feet, the passing, and just get stronger because he's lower body, he's NBA ready. Upper body, he's still young. If you could get both of those to come together and those knees stay healthy, because that's going to be the big thing, the Giles Bagley combination is going to be insane. You add De'Aaron Fox and Buddy Hield into that mix. Whew, it's going to be a lot of fun.
How old is Harry?
20? Maybe just turned 21?
Let's see. It doesn't say on here.
Can't be that old.
No, he can't be. So, I mean, how many people get bigger after they turn 21, 22, 23?
It's easy to build muscle. I mean,
he's just going to do nothing but get bigger and stronger.
Yeah, he's going to continue to grow for sure. All-Star Weekend's coming up. Bagley and Fox are on the U.S. team for the Rising Stars. Bogey is on the international team, or the UK, or whatever they're calling it, world team. That should be pretty fun to watch. Buddy Hield's in the 3-point contest. So Kings are being represented well. It'll be Harris on the Clips. What does it say? Harry's posture is the best on the team. His posture is the best on the team. Yeah, but he needs to build up those muscles. But yeah, so I just want to, a lot of the stuff that we're coming through with, it's funny, we talk about Kings groups all the time, and the Kingdom gets a lot of credit on our show for their stupidity and their negativity, and there's a lot of guys in there that are good, and there's a lot of guys in there that bring a lot to the table, but
there's about 10% that are just idiots.
The good thing is, though, there are other Kings groups, and I was talking to a couple admins that were like, hey, I listened to your show a few times, and you always talk about the Kingdom, but you don't ever mention the other group. So I thought I would throw it out there because, we have a lot of negativity, but there's also a lot of positivity out there. So there's, Six Man is a great group.
Okay.
Weber's basketball IQ was never as high as we remember. Reference the NBA championship blunder. Yeah, for sure. Sacramento Kings Goon Squad is another one. Not as active as Kingdom or Six Man is, but a lot of level-headed.
That's yours, right?
Yeah, I wish it was more active, but it is what it is. Purple Gang is good. They have a blend of the Kingdom and the Purple Gang folks. Like to go back and forth. And there's hashtag. There's the Kings group, KNGZ. There's a lot of them out there. I'll link to all of them on our Facebook page. There are a lot of good guys in those groups that keep us going and support us. So we wanted to give them a little bit of a shout out as well.
And I think the only reason
negative. There is a lot more than just the negativity that swirls around the Kingdom and some of their folks.
And the reason I reference the Kingdom is that's pretty much the only one that I'm on, that and the Goon Squad. So put those links up there, and I'll start going into some of those other groups, and hopefully it can be a little bit more enjoyable. Although it is kind of train wreck fun going into the negativity groups.
Oh, for sure. And there's another one that I won't even mention because they're a bunch of jackasses, and the admin of that group booted me a long time ago because I disagreed with him one time, and I got booted. So that group can fuck off. Do the Kings need to make a trade? Or we had a big debate about this on the Kingdom this week, and I believe one of them, and some of it trickled over to our Facebook page here at Sports is, Kings fans seem to be focused on the fact that the Kings just need to make a trade to make a trade.
Right.
And my premise behind it, and the argument was, if you want to make the playoffs, you need to make a trade. Because if you don't make the playoffs, then you're basically just wasting away or whatever. Now, my thought behind it is you only make a trade if it is a home run type of trade. You don't make one just to make one. You don't need to move the expiring contracts unless there's a really good reason to do so, because they're exactly that. They're expiring contracts, right? They're going to go away. So why break up this chemistry? The best thing that can happen with this young team is they find a way to continue to play through adversity and through the negativity that says, oh, these guys are just overachievers and blah, 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 and let this young core go after that 8th seed or that 7th seed and see what they can do. See how they do at the end of the season when the pressure is building and the rigors of March, April start to set in, and see if they can persevere and get to the playoffs. There's no need to bring in another player at this time that may disrupt that. And, these guys are young on the team. What if you bring in someone and they go, oh, well, they don't think we're good enough, so they had to bring X player in, and that confidence wanes a little bit. Like, give these guys a year to play and see what happens, and then in the offseason go, look, we pushed, we got to 9 or 8 or whatever it is. This is where we struggled. This is why we're bringing this guy in. Don't bail on a midseason. Let these young kids go, look, this franchise believes in us. We're going to run with it. And then let's get better in the offseason.
Right.
What's your thought on that?
I couldn't have said it any better than you did. I mean, this team, I think that the focus of this team is to grow and to get better and to improve. And the playoffs are going to be a byproduct of that. If they make the playoffs, great. If they don't make the playoffs, they're still 2 steps ahead of where they were last year. And like you said, they're going to have more money to spend than pretty much anybody. We don't need picks. We don't need to get younger.
What we can do is we can get a first-round pick, but there's nobody on our team that's valuable enough outside of Fox, Bagley, Buddy, or Bogey that'll get you a first-round pick.
Right. And
like you said, this team doesn't need to get younger. Not to mention the Kings have 6 or 9? It's either 6 or 9. I can't remember. Second-round picks through the next 3 seasons. Vlade has this obsession with second-round draft picks, so they can use those to package for a good player. But like Kalen said, we can use the space or the expiring for a small asset. Only team with cap space yet. The Kings have about $11 million in cap space. They're pretty much the only one left. But, can you package them enough for what James just said? We need a 3-and-D small forward. Is there anyone out there? Otto Porter's out there, cool. But Otto Porter's going to give you the D, but he's not. That sounds really bad. Otto Porter's going to give you the defense, but he's probably not going to give you the 3-pointer that you need.
Yeah.
If you go after a Harrison Barnes, you're going to get the 3, but you're not going to get as much defense as you want. And you're going to get some, and you're going to get a definite upgrade over what we have. But both of those guys' contracts are huge. What small forward can you go out there that you can bring in that's going to give you the defense, the 3-point shot, and be able to run the floor and stretch the floor with this offense that you absolutely need to keep the train moving? I don't know that there's one available for the assets that the Kings have.
Right, and not destroying their cap situation. I mean, you can bring one in, but it's gonna screw everything up in terms of cap wise. Again, if you can get something for Willie, fine. If you can get a comparable player, that's fine. Not getting too old. I don't want to bring in another expiring contract. If you can get somebody that's athletic, that can play defense, not a Marc Gasol type, but somebody who can actually move.
That doesn't make any
sense. I would
basically Otto Porter is a great 3-point shooter, but he's not shooting the ball very well at all right now.
Yeah. I would say, again, like you said earlier, let's just stand pat and see what happens. I mean, it's not. I think if it's 5 years from now and this is the team that we have and we're in this situation. Let me rephrase that. If this team was 5 years older, not that this team 5 years from now, but if this was a team made up of people that were 5 or 6 years older, and it's like, okay, we have to make the playoffs this year or it's a failure, or this is the last shot that we have with Fox and Heald and those guys, because in a couple of years, they're not going to, they're either not going to be here or they're going to be over. They're going to be done. Their their ideal time frame is past, their window is closing, however you want to say it, then I think you go make a big blockbuster trade.
Right.
But the team that we have right now, you don't need a blockbuster trade. Again, I'm even fine with just letting Willie go away and using his cap money next year. They don't need to do that. I think they can stand pat, like TJ says. I don't want to screw up the chemistry of this team. And I don't want to bring in a Mello, who is a locker room killer. I don't want to bring in somebody who's going to slow the team down, who's going to be a black hole, who's not going to pass. I'd rather stay pat.
Anyone that mentions Carmelo Anthony needs to be slapped across the face.
Right.
And so I'm looking at the free agents for next year, and Chris Middleton's on there, Tobias Harris is on there. I mean, Otto Porter, if he is shooting that well, Caitlin, then I'm good with that. But I know in the beginning of the year he wasn't, so I really haven't checked on it too much. James yesterday on one of the Facebook groups made a really good argument for Bojan Bogdanovic, small forward out of Indiana. Great three-point shooter.
We could lead the league in Bogdanovic's.
Right? Can you imagine what the fucking hell? Oh man, that would be crazy. But I would be okay with that. I mean, Jabari Parker could still be available, but he makes a lot of money. And I'm going through, and there's just not a lot. Michael Kidd-Gilchrist is out there, but he doesn't play well enough, for that. Trevor Ariza's 80. Rudy Gay's not coming back. He's 82. There's just not. I mean, Kelly Oubre wouldn't be a terrible pickup, and he'd be cheap if the Warriors or if the Wizards ended up not offering him a deal. Luke Balamute, that would be your defense if you want to hit that, but he's like 72.
We've already been down that road.
Right. Cyrus, no need to trade for any of our young core. Go hard in free agency, third most cap space. See, it's so rare that I agree with Cyrus on things. And
I know, I was going to say that. Did somebody hijack Cyrus's?
Right. There's no, I mean, unless you're getting rid of Willie, Ben, I think of the young players, the only ones that are really expendable would be Yogi or Frank Mason, maybe Justin Jackson or Scal if someone wants them. But you got to keep that 6 that we talked about a couple weeks ago intact. Like, you cannot do anything that's going to impact the top 6. Kelly Oubre may have gotten traded. I'm looking at a list that just has the teams because it still has Porzingis on the Knicks. So this is a couple days old, but I'm just looking at who the contracts that are coming forward. Alan Crabb could probably play the 3. I mean, he's tall enough, and he's still a 40% three-point shooter. Wilson Chandler, I think, would be a good pickup if the Sixers didn't want to, but he's out now for a couple weeks with the knee, so who knows how that's going to play out. It just goes on and on and on. You're like, damn, I really don't know who we could go after. It's going to be a lot on Vlade. He's going to need to figure out what he wants to do. And, but like Cyrus said, you got to keep Oubre's on the Suns, so he's definitely going to want out of there. But the Suns are going to need to lock him up. They need to lock somebody up. Let's see what they do. Obviously, I mean, it's going to be crazy. But I believe right now, unless you get a home run offer from another team, you don't need to be aggressive buyers at the deadline. You can sit back. It's like one of those things where, a good example of that is, if you're a buyer, you're calling everybody, right? And you're like, hey, I need to make a deal. Who's available? What do you want? Blah, blah, blah. If you're a seller, you just put your phone on high and you wait for the phone to ring. The Kings need to be that guy that's just sitting out in the driveway washing the car, and someone rolls up and goes, hey, would you sell your car? And you're like, right. Offer. And they're like, oh, I'll give you this. Okay, you know what? That sounds good. I'll sell it. Like, that's what the Kings need to be. They need to be blown away with an offer that allows them simply to make a deal, not because they have to, but because the deal makes perfect sense.
Right.
We'd be too confused if we had both Bogdanoviches. The whole damn names sound the same. Imagine Gary Gerald calling on the radio. So what?
He already does it twice a year anyway.
Right. Figure it out. I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, make the deal. So you go to nicknames, BB8 and I don't know, whatever number the other bug out of it, BB88. Get rid of Bielitsa's number and just really confuse everybody. But yeah, so definitely going to be fun to watch. It's going to be one of those things where Vladi's going to earn his salt. He's going to figure out exactly what needs to be done. What's up, Isaac? Joe. He needs to figure something out. And damn it, I don't know why I'm agreed. I mean, Cyrus agrees again. Home run trades only.
Dude, Cyrus, where did you come from?
Cyrus woke up and had a big old cup of coffee. I sent him a message reminding him that the show's on. We're not like exiling him. Like,
right.
So Cyrus and Sammy and those guys that have some of their thoughts that are outlandish. The good thing about them is they don't cave. You give them something and they stand pat, and I respect the hell out of that. So that's one of those things where I was like, you know what, we're gonna make sure he's here if he wants to voice his opinion.
And here's the other thing that I kind of got into it with somebody with this week is they don't take it personal. You know, I've gotten in my arguments with Cyrus. I've gotten in my arguments with Sammy. There's a couple other guys that I tend to get in discussions with, but they don't take it personal. And some guy said I was a fucking retard or something like that the other day. And I just, that's why I like Cyrus is we can have a discussion and nobody's getting pissed off at each other. Nobody's calling anybody a fucking idiot. That's good. And that's what this is all about. But, I'm glad that he's here. I'm glad that Cyrus tuned in today. And I appreciate him. I love having different opinions and I love having arguments with people, but man, don't get personal.
Yeah, for sure. This is the best part of this segment. What's up, Keith? Keith is one of those guys also that he'll voice his opinion, and sometimes I feel like he voices his opinion from the opposite end of his opinion just to stir the pot, which is something we definitely love about Keith.
Right.
But he backs it up with fact, and he backs it up with reasoning, and he's not afraid to voice his opinion in any way, shape, or form, and that trickles across all sports. I mean, he hates his Steelers and he hates his Pirates. And he dog on his Kings, and that's what we all love. But So yeah, Kings season has been fun. I'm saying it like it's over. It's been fun, guys. It's a good run.
We're going 0-30 the rest of the year.
Right, 0-30. We're gonna 2 wins, and that's how it's gonna end. Yeah, Oscar stirs the pot. Keith turns on the oven. No, Keith, you preheat the water. Boiling, and Oscar comes in and stirs it up so the noodles don't stick. But yeah,
Speaking of Oscar, I love his new approach. Oscar is just trying to piss people off right and left, and his sarcastic post. I mean, he's on a trade Buddy Yield rant lately.
Oh, it was a trade Aaron Fox. Trade Fox while the stock is high.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if Vlade woke up one day just salty as hell, like his wife threw away his cigarettes or something, right? He's like, fuck it, and he just sends out a mass text to every team except the Lakers and the Warriors. He goes, Buddy Hield and De'Aaron Fox is available. Who do you got? And all of a sudden, the rumors, like Sam Amick his head would explode. Woj would be like blowing up his phone. Like that would be the most insane thing you can ever imagine.
Oh God, that's funny.
Where's the end of the year pizza party? It's got to be. I don't know. We should have an end of the year burger party at Squeeze In.
There we go.
But Keith won't come. He'll bring his own. He'll bring Willie's in from outside.
Yeah.
Let's pay another bill, and then we're going to talk football because it is Super Sunday, and there's a lot to talk about with that and the NFC Championship weekend. Fox Buddy could be the best backcourt in the league eventually. Already one of the best. Again, Cyrus, man, don't replace the coffee you're drinking today because I like this Cyrus for sure.
We need to put Cyrus up on the screen there.
Cyrus is up on the screen. Just give us
put him. I got TJ up there.
Oh well, Cyrus should be. It's coming. Oh, maybe it froze again. This is.
I did it. Oh, okay.
It might have.
All right.
Yeah, TJ's been up there for a minute. But yeah, Cyrus, Fox Buddy could be the best backcourt in the league eventually.
It's not at Willie's. No, we want good hamburgers, Keith.
the Pels would only give you Randall for that package. Yeah, somehow the Pelicans would be like, nope, you don't get anything. Holy crap. What did Cyrus just put? Shooting 46% from the three. Oh, wait, hold on. Just getting started. It's best yet to come. Shooting 46% on threes now. Fourth most made threes in the league. Shooting higher percentage than all shooting guards and field goal percentage in threes. Shooting higher percentages than Steph. Only guard averaging more points per game. Shooting overall higher field goal percentage is Kyrie. Buddy's shooting better on threes than him too. Buddy's one of the elite guards in the game, just getting started, and his best years are yet to come. Something we don't typically do on this show, and I'm going to do it right now, is I'm going to give Vivek Ranadive credit, because Vivek wanted Buddy from the jump, and he said he wanted Buddy because he felt that he could shoot like Steph, and he was bummed that the Pelicans made a deal before the Kings could to get him. And you know what? Props to him, because he went out and, he said he's a player one on the list, and it cost us DeMarcus Cousins. But guess what? We're on pace to have the most wins we've had since 2005. So let's run with it. I'm good with it. But yeah, so before we talk football, let me get this phone number up so I don't forget it. Pretty bummed out that Be Live again is backlogging the screen, so we can't change what's up there. Best two we've had since Mitch Richmond. Again, agreed. Damn it.
Cyrus, stop making sense. You're more fun when you don't make sense.
Right? When you're talking about like the Kings need to sign LeBron and
right.
One sec. Our cake's being delivered for later. I just want to talk real quick about Albert Chavez. Albert Chavez is the mortgage king. He is our, or I shouldn't say our, but my lead lender when it comes to home purchases and refinancing. He's helped us on multiple deals now. He works with you quite a bit, and he is he's a loyal supporter and sponsor of Sports Talk 916. We've done 3 deals with him now. My family is working on our 4th, and Albert he's been great all the way through. So if you're looking to buy a home, refinance a home, if you don't think you can afford one just because the market may not be right, or maybe your credit's not good enough, give Albert a call, 916-230-1537. He can walk you through all sorts of different programs and credits and situations that may benefit you. And when you're looking for a lender, you call Albert. But when you're looking for a realtor, you call Greg Veroza. They work together all the time. And you need to make sure that you are giving both of them a call. You'll hear more information from Greg Veroza a little bit later in the show. But first, let's do this. I could listen to that music literally all day long. I love that music.
So James just texted me offline. He says, "Do you want me to go to the Kingdom and say that I heard on Sports Talk this morning that Vladdy is going to trade Buddy and Fox?"
Oh my God! Make sure he references though that it's because Vladdy's wife threw away all of his cigarettes.
Right.
Good times. So NFL, lots of controversy surrounding the NFC Championship game. A blown call, which Saints fans feel is the only reason why they lost that game, which is ridiculous because they got a first down in the very next play. And then Peyton basically forgot that clock management is important in the final 2 minutes of a game, throws it on first down inside the 30, doesn't make the Rams use their timeouts. They go down the field, they march, and they kick the field goal that sends it to overtime. And then apparently a pass interference in the fourth quarter also impacted the fact that Drew Brees threw an interception on the first possession of overtime, and that Greg the Leg Zuerlein has a fucking cannon of a foot or a ramrod of a foot and hit a 51-yard field goal to win the game.
That would have been good from 65.
Yeah, for sure. I love squeeze in the way Sammy Spearman loves Vlade Divac. There you go. There's the comment of the day from Keith Joganatis. Saints fans need to get over it. If you go back and watch that play, and someone broke it down online, and I saw it, and I thought it was great because there was a hold on the offensive line that wasn't called. There was a what appeared to even be a tip ball, which is what they called it on the field, is why the pass interference wasn't called afterwards.
I haven't heard that at all.
If you look closely, it would have been a bang play. The ball's trajectory may have changed a little bit, but regardless, like what Keith just said, Saints had the ball in the red zone. 3 straight drives to start the game. They had the ball first in overtime. They got picked. They can only blame themselves. Literally, Sean Payton's one of the best coaches in NFL history. Drew Brees is one of the best quarterbacks in NFL history. When you're inside the 30 on first down and you're throwing the ball because the Rams put 9 in the box because they dared you to throw the ball, run the fucking ball. You're in the 30. Even if they stuff you at the line, as long as you don't fumble it, guess who's taking a timeout? It's the Rams because they need to stop the clock. You don't let them goad you into throwing the ball. You lose it down and the clock stops. You gave them 3 timeouts. They marched down the field. They kicked the field goal, sent it to overtime, and the rest is history. All the rest from LA, though, that is interesting. Yeah, the NFL does need to figure out a way to eliminate that, eliminate those talking points when it comes down to situations like this, because that becomes conspiracy theory. Well, there's like 4 of the 6 refs were from the LA area. Like, I know that doesn't have an impact on the game, but they need to make sure that they're somehow preventing those wormholes that people like to fall into, because it just and just puts a lot of negativity. The thing is, though, New Orleans is salty as fuck right now. There are bars in New Orleans that have decided that they're not even going to broadcast the Super Bowl. They're playing the 2009 Super Bowl in the bars in New Orleans this weekend.
Are they really?
And watch the old game. Run the ball, cheating, sneaky Pete Carroll. Yeah, I mean, shit, Jimmy Ray would have ran the ball 3 times. So hire him as offensive coordinator. It was just a bad look for the Saints. And you know what? Now it's Rams versus Patriots tomorrow or today. And it's going to be one of those games where it's going to be interesting. But a lot of the topic was, do you make pass interference reviewable? And there was a lot of talk on, talk radio the last 2 weeks of it's going to slow the game down. It's going to make it one of those things where if there's a missed call, the booth could call it down, and it's going to ruin the human error of the game. And it's one of those things where, yeah, if it's a reviewable call that, if it's that station, no, the station's not, the bars are just going to put it on their TVs on like a recorded broadcast. They're just not going to play anything, TJ, in the bars. Hey, I just found $5. Sweet.
There you go.
We can go on for another week, guys. If you make it reviewable by the booth, it's gonna take away that human element, right? It's gonna make it really tough for the game to have any kind of legitimacy. And I want to get your take on it before I give you my solution to this and see what you think of mine. So what do you think about making pass interference a reviewable play?
I think it would be good. I'm all for getting things right. I think the human error is, I don't know. I just don't buy that. I mean, I just don't think. I mean, if we have the technology to do it, why not take a minute or two? It's not going to add 15 or 20 minutes to a game. It's going to add a minute or two. That's all. I heard the best solution I heard was you add an extra challenge that can only hold on. You add one extra challenge for for judgmental calls, for judgment calls. If the coach challenges it and he gets it wrong, then it's a 15-yard penalty. I think that way those judgment call challenges are going to be left on the table. I mean, people aren't going to want to risk a 15-yard penalty unless it's blatant like that. So I have no problem with that. Like I said, add one extra challenge. You can only use it on. It's not an extra challenge to see if he was inbounds or not. It's not an extra challenge to did he catch the ball? Is it a touchdown? It's got to be for something that's non-reviewable. And one shot, you get it wrong, 15-yard penalty, and it's over with. That's a good way to solve that problem. Again, I'm one for, got the technology, get it right. Human error is not, that doesn't mean anything to me.
Now, one of the big things about that, though, is people are concerned it's going to slow the game down, right? Adding another challenge. So my thought on it is this. You do not allow the booth to make an immediate review like they do on turnovers and touchdowns or unsportsmanlike conduct where the booth automatically dings the ref and says, hey, you need to review this to see if a player is going to be ejected or whatever. You do not give that to the refs. You do allow the coaches within their two challenges to decide whether or not they want to review a blatant miscall or a miscall up until the 2-minute warning. If they use it, great. If they don't, it follows the same parameters. If you get two of them right, you get an extra timeout or you get an extra review. And in the final 2 minutes or overtime, then the booth can trigger a review if necessary. You're not giving the booth extra power to stop the game multiple times. You're still giving the refs the benefit of the doubt. You're not giving the coaches an extra challenge. I do like the idea of the penalty if they do implement something like that where, it goes back, but allow the coaches if they feel it's good, but you're going to lose a timeout. And if you get it wrong, and a timeout in this league, especially the way that the ball's being thrown around, a timeout is almost more valuable than losing 15 yards. And, so yeah, if you could challenge a no pass interference call, but you're going to need to make sure that you're right because you're going to end up losing a timeout on it. That's the way I look at it is you give them the ability or you give them one, or you give the coaches the ability to throw one flag in the final 2 minutes. You don't even give it to the booth. You give them that option to have one flag to throw, and it can be used for a missed call. It can be used for a first down spot, a catch. Like you give them one final 2-minute review, and you take away the booth review otherwise in the final 2 minutes. You don't have an opportunity for every sideline play to be reviewed by the booth because, was it a catch? The booth still does scoring plays and turnovers in the final 2 minutes like they do any other time in the game. But Those coaches get one review for the entire 2-minute or the entire overtime. And you need to make sure you use that wisely because if you get it wrong, you lose one of your timeouts at the end of the game. And it puts the coaches on, it really makes them trust their upstairs guys because there's some coaches that are just like, nope, I'm going to review it because the player said so. And they disregard everything else. And, I think you put it in the coach. The coach wants to criticize the ref for making a bad call. Great. You have a chance to fix it, but you get to do that once and you don't get any more support from the booth the rest of the game.
Yeah,
you want to get rid of human error. That's probably one of the best ways to do it. Is you allow the coach who thinks they know everything, thinks they know more than the refs anyways, let them dictate it.
Yeah. I don't know. I think we have the technology. We can, there's a whole bunch of other things. I think they should put a chip in the ball at the nose, at both ends of the ball. What's that?
James says then the opposing coach just gets to choose if a timeout or a 15-yard penalty is applied.
No, I like that too.
So in the final 2 minutes, you take out the booth review, you allow the coach to have one review, and if they get it wrong, the other coach can go, you know what? They're already at the 20, backing them up 5's not going to matter. We're going to take the timeout from them. Or they're at the 35 on our 35. We back them up to the 50 now. Yeah, we'll go ahead and let them do that. Especially if it's like third or fourth down, right? Timeout's not going to matter anyways.
Uh-oh.
I like that. Now let's see if this happens because everyone listens to our show, right?
Right.
Let's see here. I want to talk about something that Atlanta has right, and Atlanta's had this right since they opened the Mercedes-Benz Stadium or Dome or whatever you want.
I think I know where you're going.
And that's prices of food and beverages and everything, right? So I have a breakdown of the last 7 years of food prices at the Super Bowl and the average of what it's going to cost for those folks to get something. Okay, so this will include a soda or water, a non-fancy beer, so a regular draft beer, a sandwich, a pizza slice, or another main course, fries, popcorn, pretzels, and then the total. So in Arlington, 2011, at the house that Jerry built, it would cost you $32 to get a soda, a non-fancy beer, an entree, we'll call it, and a snack. $7 for a water or beer, $10 or soda, $10 for a regular draft beer, $10 for a sandwich, $5 for one of the snacks. In 2012, the Colts Stadium, $4 for a water, $8 for a non-fancy beer, $8 for an entree, $5 for a snack, $24 for you to eat. The New Orleans Stadium, the other Mercedes-Benz, $5 for a soda, non-fancy beer was $12. Their entree was $9, and I cut off the bottom, so I don't have that one. And $6 for the snack, $32 total there. So I did have it. In New York, the average price jumped up to $40. It was 6, 14, 14, and 6. In Glendale in 2015, it dropped back down to 36, 7, 12, 9, and 8. In Santa Clara, it was the most expensive of all of them. $10 for a water or soda, $13 for a beer, $10 for a sandwich, $10 for fries, popcorn, pizza, pretzels, or etc. An average cost of $43. And in 2017, I take that back, 2017 was the highest. Houston, I don't know if it's because of the hurricanes or what, or the fires or whatever the hell happened to them. Houston was $11 for a water, $12 for a beer, $16 for either a sandwich, pizza, or etc.
That's ridiculous.
$7 for a snack, $46 for those. And last year was $41, 7, 13, 14, 7, and 41. You want to guess what Atlanta is going to cost you for a soda or a water, a non-fancy beer, so it'd be like a Bud Light, Coors Light, Budweiser, Miller, whatever, a sandwich, and let's call it a pretzel. What do you think the cost is going to be in Atlanta?
Total.
Now remember, San Francisco was 43, and Houston was 46.
I'm going to guess 28.
Hold on, I have a thing for this. Where is it? Shit. Do I not have that sound? Oh my god, I'm terrible at this. Let's do this one. Want to guess again?
Am I too high or too low?
You're high.
Really?
Yeah.
22. Wow.
$18.
That's awesome.
$2 for a water or soda, $5 for a draft beer, $8 for an entree, $3 for a snack. I have the full breakdown of everything that's going to cost you. This is at Mercedes-Benz, right? And this is, they call it fan first pricing, which I think everybody should follow. Coca-Cola refillable cup. Okay? $2.
Wow.
Hot dog, $2. Waffle fries, $3. Bud Light draft, $5. A bottle of Dasani water, $2. A popcorn, $2. Slice of pizza is going to cost you $3. A cheeseburger is going to cost you $5. A pretzel's $2. A nacho with cheese is $3. A souvenir refillable cup is only $4. I think King's charge like $15 for theirs. And a chicken tender basket with fries is the most expensive thing on their menu for $6. Why can't other teams follow this and allow people to go to a game and enjoy it?
And I heard this last year that after they decided to drop their prices, Atlanta led the league. They had the highest amount of sales and made the most money on their food and beer than any team in the league. It just makes sense.
You charge less, people buy more.
Yeah.
You figure I'm going to buy one beer at Golden One for $14, right? And this is for a Bud Light. So let's say that their premium, draft is probably like what, $8 or $9,
mm-hmm.
or on this pay scale probably $7. I can buy 2 beers for the cost of one at Golden One Center, and if I want to just cheap and just drink, I can buy 6 beers almost for the cost of 2 plus tip at Golden One.
Yeah.
Why the hell would I not go back and buy more? Plus, I can get a hot dog to wash down the beer or help with the beer for $2. Buy 6 of those.
Yeah, I went to where did I go? Oh, I was at I went to the Eagles concert at AT&T or Oracle or whatever the fuck they call it now.
Right.
And 2 pieces of pizza and 2 drinks. I think I bought a beer and a regular drink, like a mixed drink, and it was like $75.
Insane.
It's ridiculous. I mean, it's why would you even do that? I mean, when you're paying $8 for a bottle of water,
right?
It's just stupid. It's gotten worse, a lot worse over the last couple of years, but I think Atlanta has it down right. Charge people less.
Not only that, but Atlanta, whoever does their negotiating for space in their stadium needs to be given the salesperson of the ever award. Somehow Atlanta convinced Chick-fil-A to be their anchor tenant in their retail space because it's open to the public during the week, and then obviously on game day you can go in and access everything else.
Mm-hmm.
Somehow they convinced Chick-fil-A to be the anchor restaurant inside their stadium, which primarily is used on Sundays. If you've ever gone to Chick-fil-A on a Sunday morning hankering for a chicken biscuit, you were turned away because guess what? Their religious values of their company, they're closed on Sundays. How the hell do you negotiate with a fast food place that says, hey, look, the most business you're going to get from 55,000 people is on a Sunday? Go ahead and rent the space from us, but you're going to miss out on 55,000 people all in one place. And they're like, okay, let's do it. They've never been open during the game. They won't be open today during the game. Chick-fil-A
I was just going to ask you that. Are they going to be open today?
They came out and said, nope, it would be against our morals to open up even for the biggest game of the year. We're going to remain closed. We need to negotiate new roads. We need to have that guy come out and negotiate new taxes. Anything that needs a negotiation, that dude from Atlanta needs to be hired as a consultant to every city in the world. Absolutely amazing that he's able to pull that off. It blows my mind that Chick-fil-A was like, yeah, let's do it. They better bank on a lot of tourists looking at that building during the week.
Ah, no kidding. Yeah, I hadn't heard whether they're going to be open. I was thinking about that when you started talking about this. So,
hey, Cyrus says, gotta go, fellas. Good show. I like it better than 1140, which I never listened to anymore. Cyrus, we appreciate you, man. Hopefully we'll see you on here next week. Enjoy the game. I know your Bears aren't playing, but enjoy it anyway.
Is Cyrus a Bears fan too?
I believe he is. You know what that might be Sammy.
Sammy's a Bears fan.
Yeah. I'm sorry. It was Sammy. I didn't realize that Sammy popped on earlier. So, yeah. Either way, Cyrus, we appreciate you.
Yeah.
And have a good one. Steve says 2 sodas at the Sharks and 1 small hot dog was $20 at the Shark Tank last night. Not as bad as what you guys are saying, but not great. Yeah, it's still a lot cheaper than what 2 sodas and a hot dog will cost you at Golden One Center. Oh, Niner fan. All right, Cyrus, I like you a little bit better.
Thanks, Cyrus. Hey, I appreciate what you said. Cyrus was PMing me here earlier, and we got some stuff straight. So, Cyrus, we're still good, and I respect you saying what you did. So, thanks, buddy.
Let's see. Last thing before we get to the Super Bowl previews, we got to pay another bill. So here we go.
If you or anyone you know is thinking about buying, selling, or investing in real estate, they deserve to have someone working with them that not only knows what they're doing, but will explain everything that happens along the way. That person would be me, Coach Greg Baroza of Keller Williams Realty. I have two goals. My first goal is to coach you through the buying and selling process, making it easy to understand and as stress-free as possible, which isn't easy sometimes. My second goal is to have fun doing it. Come be a part of my team. Let me coach you or anyone you know through the real estate process. Give me a call at 916-241-8068, and let's talk about how I can coach you through the real estate process. Let me ask you one question. Who do you know that's looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate that I should know right now? Again, that's Greg Baroza, Keller Williams Realty, 916-241-8068.
That's right. Give him a call.
Yep, please do.
Let's see here. So at Media Week, Tom Brady was asked, is this going to be your last Super Bowl? Is this going to be your last game? Are you retiring after this year, win, lose, or draw? Or I guess win or lose. Tom Brady held up his hand and said there is a 0 chance that he retires this year. So we will have another year of Brady and Belichick. But my question for you, Mr. Greg Baroza, is this the last game that we see from Rob Gronkowski?
I think it is. I've been feeling that way for about the last, almost the whole season, that he's not right. He's young.
He's young.
I was watching it was an NFL matchup or something this morning. And they were showing him, he's still a super effective blocker. I mean, they move him around and put him in situations where he really helps the running game, but he's caught one pass last weekend or last game and 2 the game before.
No, he had 2 or 3 big catches against the Chiefs.
Yeah, but that's not Gronkowski numbers.
Oh no.
And plus, what guy in this world does not want to be Rob Gronkowski? There's not one person walking around on the face of this earth that doesn't want to be him. I mean, he's young, he's got money, he's smart. I mean, he comes across as a big doof, but he's a smart dude. And we've talked about this before. He hasn't spent a dime of his salary. He's tucked it all away. He spent all the money he lives on is from endorsements.
So he does the thing that Marshawn Lynch has done?
Yeah.
Nice.
So he's saved every penny. So he's set up not only for his life, but whatever. There's videos of him out there partying with his shirt off and going nuts, and nobody blows him up.
Nope.
Nobody, other guys do that, and they're the worst person in the world. So he's got the public behind him. He's got everything going for him. He's going to be in the public spotlight for the rest of his life. He's that guy that everybody wants to be. Yes, Gronk is a Hall of Famer without a doubt.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know that he'll be first ballot like a Tony Gonzalez was this year, but I think Gronk will be up there for sure.
But but Gronk is a Hall of Famer in life. I mean, he's just got it. He's just got it figured out. So
and not only that, but I mean, he's been Mr. Reliable. Brady needs someone to go to. He goes to him. He may be having one of the worst years of his career stats wise, but when you need him, he's there. Right. And
but he just can't stay healthy.
There's already talks too that he has his next plan, and that's movies. Apparently, Hollywood's knocking on his door. They want him in movies because he's a face that women can get behind, and he's in shape, and he can who knows if he can act, but you don't need to act really to start your career. You just got to be a musclehead, and Gronk definitely has that. So, I hope it's not the last game, but based on his injury history and the amount of abuse he takes, I would not be shocked or upset if Rob Gronkowski walked away from the game of football. So, how about that family for professional football players or one baseball player? What? How about that family for professional football players and one? I don't get it.
How about that family? Oh, I think what he's saying is the Gronkowski family. If you've ever seen a
maybe for professional football, FOUR. Their family is rooted deep. And not only that, but he also has his side businesses. He has, him and his brothers all created the Ice Shaker Cup, and they have other, fitness products that they endorse. And, he's going to be fine. I mean,
have you ever seen a story on him and his brothers?
It's ridiculous.
Oh, they're crazy. I mean, that growing up in that house, I can't understand why his mom and dad haven't done something to themselves, because those guys are just, they're a bunch of 10-year-olds.
Oh, they're living their best life for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's see here. I have a beef with you before we get to our picks.
Okay.
You publicly made a blunder on your Facebook page that needs to be addressed.
I did.
Yeah.
It doesn't surprise me.
So you're a 49er fan, right?
Yeah. I know where this is going.
You said that you are a Rams fan for a day.
Yep.
No, you can't do that. You
can't. I can. Absolutely, I can.
You can root for the Rams or predict the Rams to win, but you cannot declare yourself a fan of that team.
Whatever.
And it is in your division, Mr. Rosa. You cannot do it. You can root for them. You can pick them. You can hope they win, but you cannot be a fan of that team. It is against the rules, and
I'm not sure what the difference is, but
you can't declare yourself as a fan.
Why not?
Take it back.
No.
Nope. We're gonna wait. Take it back.
No.
James says try having a 45-year beef with him.
No, I think no, because I hate. If there's anything I hate more than teams in our division, is the New England Patriots. I'm over them. I'm done with Brady. He's a whiny little bitch. He's a great quarterback. They're winners. But remember that video? There was a video of him. I think it was one of the Super Bowls. Maybe somebody picked off a pass and scored a touchdown. And the video was him walking up and down or running up and down the sidelines, screaming like a little girl. And every time I see him now and I hear his voice, that's what I think of. And I'm just done with him. I'm just over him. Go Rams.
See, I have the complete different take on the Brady Belichick Super Bowl. And the reason why I'm going for New England today and not the Rams is we've talked about it before. It's my Kobe Bryant effect. My hate for Kobe Bryant was it was as clear as day. You can never say anything about Kobe without my blood boiling. Like I was like, fuck Kobe Bryant, right? And then Kobe retired. And I was like, damn, I really should have appreciated what Kobe Bryant brought to the NBA. He was a hell of a player. He was an amazing talent. And, I regret not following more of, I shouldn't say following because I followed his career, but I regret not appreciating more of what Kobe Bryant did for the NBA and as a player. The same goes for Tom Brady. See, for me, being younger than you by a number of years, I didn't get to see one Joe Montana 49er game. Not one.
Didn't? Are you that
By
young?
the time I started watching football was like 93, 94.
So Steve Young years.
It was the Steve Young era, and Joe Montana was already a Chief at the time.
Right.
So I didn't get I got to live the Steve Young years, which were amazing, and I got to live, the Troy Aikman and the Brett Favres and all those different guys. I never got to do the Joe Montana thing.
Yeah.
And the fact that why am I so blurry? What the fuck is going on here? The fact that Tom Brady is doing what he's doing through the league, whether he's whining or not, it's something to appreciate. And I'm not going to allow the Kobe Bryant effect to trickle over to football. There's never been a reason for me to necessarily hate Tom Brady. Tom Brady has never done anything in his career that has directly impacted the 49ers for me to have a beef with Brady. So I'm going to sit back in this game and I'm going to root for the Patriots, and I'm going to sit back and appreciate what we're witnessing, because Joe Montana aside, Joe never went to 9 Super Bowls. And I know they're going to say, well, it was a different league and you could hit wide receivers and you could hit quarterbacks and blah, 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 blah. In this era of the protected quarterback, no one's ever gone to 9 Super Bowls. So it's clearly something extremely special with what Brady and Belichick are doing. Rodgers hasn't done it. Breeze didn't do it. Roethlisberger's been to more than anybody. Peyton didn't do it. So I'm putting my Niners bias and the Joe Montana thing aside, and I'm going to look at it as we're seeing a once-in-a-lifetime thing, because I don't know that we're ever going to see someone go to 9 Super Bowls
never again
in 18 years and have a chance to win 6 of them by himself. And so I'm going to sit back and I'm going to enjoy it, and I'm going to watch this thing go down, and I'm going to root for New England to win because I want to see history continue to build. But I mean, I really don't give 2 fucks who wins the game as long as it's a good game. But I am taking New England. I am taking Brady to continue to do Brady things and do great things. And, sitting back and looking at it, I'm hoping that this puts the Montana Brady argument to rest. It's a different era. That's the one argument that everyone always has is, well, Brady wouldn't have survived when Montana played. Okay, well, who's to say that, Joe would have survived with the way defenses and things like that are now? Like, there's no way to know.
I don't agree with that at all. I don't agree with that at all.
No, I'm just saying, there's no way to know based on the way the game evolved. I mean, I'm sure Joe Montana would have been amazing now. But do you think Joe Montana would have been able to lead a team to 9 Super Bowls? I mean, there's no way of knowing. Like,
there's no way of knowing. I think the problem is, and I think it goes back to the difference in the way the game is played. Montana got beat up. I mean, he had broken back, he had hip issues, he had all kinds of concussions. He was playing on cement surfaces on AstroTurf. It was a whole different game, and his career wasn't that long. Had he been as protected as Brady is, if he had the consistent coaching that Brady has, I mean, if Bill Walsh and Joe Montana had 18 or 19 years together, uninterrupted in today's game, I don't think there's any doubt that Montana and Brady are pushing each other for who's going to the most Super Bowls.
No, without a doubt, it would be like the last 4 or 5 years of the NBA. It would be Warriors.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Over and over and over again.
Right. And I did have the benefit of seeing not only Joe Montana as a Niner, but I remember him as playing for Notre Dame.
Right.
And he was special then. And I was pretty stoked when they picked him up in the 3rd round.
Yeah.
And I remember when, he finally got the first start, and he was just something special. And I think that Walsh and Montana together are every bit as a good combination as Brady and Belichick. They're both innovative coaches. I think you don't have one without the other. You don't have Montana doing what he did without Walsh. You don't have Brady doing what he's done without Belichick.
Let me ask you this. What about the argument of Montana had a team of Hall of Famers built around him, and Brady does it with much inferior talent built around him and brings the best out of literally everybody on his team? Montana's teams were stacked, and Brady. There's arguments in a couple years ago when they first started that those defenses led by Ty Law and Harrison and Brewski and all those guys were amazing. And then those years that he had, I'm drawing a blank, but I mean Randy Moss and there was all those other wide receivers and the weapons that they had. There were some glory years, but Montana always had a stacked roster around him. Brady's done it with far inferior teams, and I think it's safe to say that it's the Jordan LeBron argument. You can't compare. You can't compare the two. You have to look at it as Montana was the best of his time, In the years that Montana played, he was the best quarterback out there.
Mm-hmm.
The torch gets passed. It's a new generation. Now it's safe to say that Brady is the GOAT of his time. And I think they've got to change the GOAT. It can't be greatest of all time. It's got to be Gog, greatest of his generation. You know what I mean? Like there needs to be another title, because that's what triggers so many damn people. Is no, he's the greatest of all time. Like, well,
right.
Okay, he's the greatest to play the game while he played the game. Like, let's just call it what it is. And we have a chance now to watch Brady continue to cement that legacy that he's building.
Right. So here's a couple things about that. I think one, again, you can't compare the eras because Montana played in a time where there was no salary cap, and Brady is. You're also Montana's playing in a time where it was much more physical. You could get away with a lot more, and the only way that he could be successful is by having all those Hall of Fame type players with him, because they were the only type of players that were going to be able to consistently be effective because of the rules that you had. So nowadays it's a lot less physical. They can get away with a lot more. It's easier for them to convert those plays because they're not getting molested all the way down the field. I think, if Montana had his lineup in today's game, I can't see them losing.
It'd be tough.
I think that
you can't kill Jerry Rice or James Taylor or McCaffrey or whoever it was who's throwing the ball over the middle. If you can't kill those guys when they're on a crossing route like you could back then, I mean, they run the table now, but I think my disdain to this argument just goes to that delusional Niner fan. And it's those ones that get so pissed off. Oh, Montana's the best ever. You can't even put Brady to this. You got to take a step back and look at it from a different angle. Like, if you only wear your Niners cap, you're going to just look foolish when people start throwing out sets. When they go into the Hall of Fame, they don't have anything other than a gold bust or bronze bust that shows you're in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Once you get there, you get there. And we've talked about this before. It doesn't matter if you're first ballot Hall of Famer or eighth ballot Hall of Famer. If you're a Hall of Famer, you're in a very elite class, and it doesn't matter. At that point, you're on Mount Rushmore. And it doesn't matter what era you played in, and it doesn't matter if you were better than him at this time or another. Once you're there, you're equal, and you're the greatest to ever play the game, or you're one of the greatest to ever play the game, and that's where the discussion needs to end. Yeah,
and I there's always, getting back to the, talking about the King stuff, there's always these arguments that so-and-so is better than so-and-so, and Brady's better. I don't care. To me, that's not important. I don't care who's better than who. I just want to watch them play. I want to appreciate what they do. My beef with Brady is pretty petty. And I agree with you, is I do appreciate how good he is. I just want to see him lose. That's all it is.
Like I said, I don't care who wins the game. I just don't want to see a crappy game. Last year's Super Bowl, amazing game. The year before that, a really good game. Like, there was a stretch there for a while where it's like, I don't even want to turn on the Super Bowl. It wasn't worth it. Go back to
Denver Seahawks where Denver or Seahawks had a safety the first play of the game, and it was downhill after that.
Yeah, after that,
here's the other thing, and I'm going to take a little bit of issue with what you said, that I can't be a Rams fan for the day. And growing up, my dad wasn't the biggest sports fan in the world, but what he said was, you know what? They beat you fair and square. They won your division. So now I'm taking up for my division. So I want the NFC West to bring back the Super Bowl trophy, because I don't automatically hate everybody that's in our division except when they play us, but I want to see the NFC West represent. And so that's kind of why I take
the other approach that I take it as, I want to see anybody but our rivals represent. So if it's the Rams, I don't want the NFC West. If it's the Warriors, I don't want the Pacific. I don't even want the West. I want someone else to win it.
I disagree. I disagree.
If this year, let's say Houston makes it, cool. I'm going to root for Houston because they're in the West. I'm going to root for the division. But if they're in or in the conference, but if they're in our division, I'm not a big fan of it.
Okay, so here was the argument that he made, and I thought it was a pretty good one. Is let's say that you lose your division by one game, and both games are close. Okay, so let's say we played the Rams, we lost both games, but they were both 3 or 4 point games.
Okay.
You go out, the Rams go out and they win the Super Bowl. You have a better claim to say, look, we were that close. We were as good as they were. They just got a couple of breaks.
I agree with that. But what about in this?
Hold on. Just stop. Okay. Now, if the Rams go, in my scenario, if the Rams go out and they get blown away, then that makes us look worse. So if no matter what, even though we got blown out both games, if the Rams go out and win, that makes us look better overall.
Yeah.
So that's my thought.
But like you said, though, like we got killed both games by the Rams. So if the Rams go out and, if it were close, I could agree with that. Yeah, well, you know what? We got beat by the best. But to me, it just makes us look worse, whether they win or lose, because they're further separating them from us. So I have a problem with rooting for anyone in our division, just like, if the Diamondbacks were to make the World Series. Obviously, if the Dodgers win it, I don't care who they're playing. The Dodgers,
right? No, that goes without saying.
But if it's the Diamondbacks or the Padres, or whatever, like I have a hard time rooting for a team that we couldn't get past. And I don't know. That's just maybe it's a generational thing. But if it's a division rival or if it's a divisional team, it's my team or nobody, and you can fly a kite for all I care. So your pick, you have the Rams. What's the final score?
37-21. No. 37-28. I think it'll be fairly close, but I think the Rams are gonna end up. I think the key to the game is going to be the Rams defensive line. If they can get to Brady and they can pressure him and put him on his back a couple of times, they're going to have a good chance. If the offensive line can control the line of scrimmage for the Patriots, and Brady can stand up there all day long and just pick people apart, then the Rams are going to get killed. But the Patriots haven't faced an offensive or defensive line like this. I'd say one of the weaknesses of the Rams is their secondary, but if Brady's running around or on his back, he's not going to complete anything anyway. So I think the Rams defensive line is going to have a big game. 37-28 Rams.
All right, so I agree with you on the defensive line is going to need to do something, but it's not going to come down to Suh or Donald. It's going to come down to like Dexter Fowler or their middle linebackers. They're going to need to be able to rush from the outside. The one thing that the Patriots have with their band of misfits on their offensive line is they do not allow interior rushes, period. And I don't care if it's Aaron Donald. I don't care if it's Ndamukong Suh. Those guys don't do enough creatively to get through. They bull rush and they overpower the offensive lines and they just go straight up the middle. If they don't do some kind of stunts or whatever to confuse that offensive line, which is basically concrete, it's going to require the outside rush. It's going to require Middleton. It's going to require Fowler. It's going to require safety blitzes to get to Brady. And, I just don't see that happening unless you take Suh and Donald out of their comfort zone, which is just bull rushing, and get them moving around and trying different things. I think Brady's going to have all day. I heard something the other day that's like 90-something straight minute or 90 straight snaps or something like that since Brady's been sacked in the playoffs.
Well, he hasn't been sacked in the playoffs at all.
Yeah, but it goes back to I think it goes back to the Super Bowl. Like the first quarter in the Super Bowl was the last time he was sacked last year in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And I don't think he was sacked. I mean, it was a couple weeks into the final season since he got the sack last time as well. That offensive line is damn good, and unless you do things to confuse them, they know their mission is just anchor in and hope that they go through it. So, the one thing that the Rams have in their favor is Wade Phillips on defense. Wade Phillips, if you look at back, you mentioned that Seattle-Denver game. Nobody could stop Russell Wilson in that offense. Absolutely nobody. And one of the things going into that was, oh, well, the Broncos, all they do is rush up the middle. They have Von Miller and they have Doomerville and they have all those guys that just bully everybody up. They ran so many stunts and misdirections and switches and different schemes in that game that threw Seattle off the ball. That's why they won that game. Wade Phillips has – someone said something at Media Day that Wade Phillips has enough plays that he's never even played in a game before written down that he can generate an entire playbook for today's game that no one's ever seen before in any game he's ever coached.
Right. So
I think Wade Phillips is going to be the X factor on that defense. With that being said, I have it 34-27 Patriots. I guess it would be 33-27. I think the Patriots win it on a final drive. Maybe they kick a field goal if it's not time expired. So I have it 34-27 Pats. Brady and Belichick get their 6th ring. That's going to make it hard for Niner fans. That means the Patriots are going to move one ahead of them, joining the Steelers for the only franchise with 6 Super Bowls. But Patriots 34-27, and I think the first touchdown of the game is going to come on a pick 6 for the Patriots defense on Jared Goff. Jared Goff's going to come out. He's going to be nervous. He's going to, I think the bright lights are going to kind of get in his head a little bit. It's because he's been starting off a little slow in these games. I think there's going to be a mistake by Goff that cost them the first score of the game, and then the rest. Then he's going to warm up, and it's going to just be a good old gunslinger shootout at that point.
Yeah, I think the key is going back to what I said earlier is Aaron Donald. He is I heard somebody was critiquing him the other day, and they said that most defensive linemen have 1, maybe 2 moves, and they don't usually go from one move right to the next. And this guy was breaking down Aaron Donald, and he literally went from he bull rushed, that didn't work. He immediately went into a second move, that didn't work. He immediately went into a third move, and I think nobody's like him. He's built like a running back. He's strong as an ox. I don't think a double team is going to work against him. It hasn't worked all year, which will free up Sue to do what he has to do. I just think that Donald is going to be a disruptive factor in there.
I agree with that, but at the same time, you mentioned someone that blocks better than anybody in the league earlier, and that's Rob Gronkowski. And what a lot of people don't mention is Sony Michel and James White are both excellent blocking running backs. And James White caught 93 passes out of the backfield this year. If you mentioned the secondary being a little weak and they were having trouble tackling this year and there are a lot of things going on, if James White gets free, Brady is so good at getting the ball out of there that even if Donald is getting pressure, it may not be enough because just get the ball in the flat and let James White do his thing. Brady's offense, James mentioned it earlier, Brady's offense, Marcus Peters pick 6 versus Goff. Is that what you said? I don't know who it's going to be. I just think it's going to be I just think it's going to be a pick 6. But, it's – what was I saying? Oh, if it gets out in the flat and you're putting a lot of it on that Rams secondary, I think that James White is going to be big. That's what I was saying. James mentioned earlier that the Rams defense is primarily a zone D. So unless Wade Phillips changes it up, Brady's offense is built strictly on timing. And if Brady is allowed to just eat up a D in zone,
yeah, of course,
it's going to be a long day for Rams. So Wade Phillips is going to literally be the reason why this Rams team wins or lose.
Right.
Have that offense firing. There's no doubt that Rams offense is going to be fine. The other thing is if the Rams start early and get I didn't say Marcus Peters. If the Rams can score early, there's something out there that I saw that the Patriots are like 1-4 this year or 1 something in the last couple years, where if they're trailing early or down by more than 12 points, they've lost like 80% of the games. But if they have a lead, then they've won like 80 of them or something like that. Like, it's a ridiculous stat where it's, I think, going into the third or fourth quarter, if they're trailing, they don't lose. But if they're trailing, they don't win. But if they're in the lead, they don't lose ever. So it's going to be one of those things where it's like, man, it's Wade Phillips is going to need to make sure that defense is on point because, like I said, McVay and McVay's coach that keeps him off the sideline. By the way, best video on the fucking internet. If you haven't seen that video,
I saw that. Yeah,
of that coach, I want that job. I want to be Sean McVay's sideline coach. Just keep him out of the way of the refs. That's probably the best thing I've ever seen. Who wins a coin toss? The team that calls it will win it. I don't know who. They're in Atlanta, so it would be the Patriots. So I'm going to go with the Patriots winning the coin toss. And I think Brady continues what he did in the AFC Championship game. I think Brady marches right down the field and scores. And it's gonna be a fun game. I think It's gonna be fun, and I'm curious to see. I'll be curious to see what the commercials are like this year. Prediction, favorite commercial, is it going to be a beer, a food, or something else this year?
I've already seen one that I really like. I'm going to say car commercial.
Huh, interesting. I could see a car commercial. I think it's going to be Doritos. Doritos always steals the show.
Yeah, that's true.
There's still nothing better than Puppy Monkey Baby.
No. Oh God. That is the worst. That's the worst commercial ever.
I love Puppy Monkey Baby. Absolutely love it. Homework for you. Your job. Record the Super Bowl on your DVR.
I will.
That way you can go back and we can watch the commercials and rank them for next week's show. Okay.
Yep. Absolutely.
I want top 5 best and let's go top 3 worst.
Okay.
Top 5, top 3, and we'll see. We will see how it is. You'll be at my house today to watch it. We won't mention them. And we'll go from there. So, anything else you want to cover on this game? Anything else you want to cover in sports before we wrap it up?
I'm good.
All right. It's been a long show. Hour and 50, almost 2 hours. We're almost at the 2 hour mark. We started at 9:09. So, appreciate everyone that listened. Hopefully you guys have a great Super Sunday. Whatever team you're looking forward to, root for them. Don't declare yourself a fan because that's bullshit. If you're a fan of another team, I'm rocking my Jimmy G. I got my Niners on today, and should be a good game. Look forward to it. Oh, the other thing we didn't mention: Nick Foles is being franchised by the Philadelphia Eagles, and they're hoping to trade him for a 3rd round pick, which I'm not sure a lot of teams will trade for. And there's reports coming out of Pittsburgh. We'll have to talk about it next week that the Steelers are thinking about applying the transitional tag to Le'Veon Bell.
No way.
Wouldn't that be a slap in the face?
Right.
For Greg Veroza, I am Greg Bull. This was episode 271. Enjoy the game. Enjoy the food. I have 40 pounds of taco meat to cook up. I will see you guys next week.
I got chili to make. Night, Larry.
Later, bitches.